I'll call the meeting to order.
Okay, the meeting has been posted according to open meeting laws.
Roll call.
President Johnson.
Here.
Trustee Alexander.
Here.
Trustee Hall.
Here.
Trustee Nugent. Here. Trustee Renucci.
Here.
Trustee Smalley.
Here.
And Trustee Wisniewski.
Here.
Thank you.
John, unless you want to speak, okay, I'm not going to read the citizen participation. We will move on. We have a jam-packed house here today. All right, move on to consent agenda. One motion and a second. We'll approve all the following items. Any item may be pulled from the list and voted on separately.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Any questions or discussion? Eileen, anything you want to highlight? Those are pretty straightforward.
Okay, then I'll move to authorize staff to release the remaining escrow funds for Lake Bluff subdivision Phase 2.
I'll second it.
Any questions or discussion?
I have one. Jason, I know you guys went through, everything is tip-top shape, everything's good to go?
Yeah, I mean, everything we could see, obviously, we don't know, certain things are going on underground, but the pavement's not reflecting any concerns or issues, so I would say we're in pretty good shape.
Okay, thank you.
All right, much better than Phase 1. All right, any other questions or discussion on the motion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 2, consider terms of master service agreement with eVergent from the June 3rd meeting. There was a memo here. There was a question about speed and ensuring the speed, and looks like they pushed back on that one item. They addressed the red line language highlighted in yellow. They stated they would test the circuits as they're installed to demonstrate their handing off a full 1 gig circuit. Any concerns about that?
Oh, a little concerned, but, because handoff is a point in time. And we're considering a lot more points in time. So that's my only concern. I don't doubt that they push back on it. I mean, I guess I would if I was them, but it doesn't make me warm and fuzzy inside.
I'm concerned about hearing, it's not my job, and that's kind of what we're hearing from this company, that if something does happen, it's not our fault before it even starts.
Yeah, but I got to think that anybody would have that built in, You can't guarantee all the time. And it looked like there was provisions in there later on in the contract saying if there was outages for so long or prolonged speeds, that they would be responsible for it. So it was built in.
Yeah, that's the language I look for. I would prefer the language that we asked for, but I can almost guarantee you're not going to get that language from Spectrum, who's our provider today. You won't get it for your at-home internet either. So I thought it was worth the shot, but I think the rest of this, we got some good terms here.
I appreciate what Jason said, but the thing I'm concerned about, and as long as it's being dealt with, that's fine, that they would inevitably help us to get the system fixed, or at least try to troubleshoot where the problem is. That's what I'm concerned about.
Yeah, I don't think it's anything different than Time Warner, or Spectrum. If you have an issue with bandwidth, you call them, and they come out and they diagnose it and put corrective action in place.
So we need a motion to, because we did not approve this last time. So if we're good with the current verbiage,
I see they added Exhibit B, dark fiber lease. Did anyone understand that? Or do we have a tech person that can go over the agreement? I mean, we have attorneys to go over the, Ts and Cs, but
so I'm trying to get
might
to.
be a good tech person.
Trying to get to B. Hang on.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, this is really just giving us the ability to, yeah, I mean, anything that we're not using, they may, I guess, This seems pretty standard to me, rereading it. I'm not too concerned about that.
Well, I'll move to approve the Evergent agreement with the village per the modified language shown in the notes, minutes.
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. I'm just looking at, there's some real technical stuff in here that is like outside of my wheelhouse. Power loss measurements and OTDR traces shall be made at 1310 nanometers and 1550 nanometers and performed bidirectionally. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, well, as long as it's bidirectional.
As long as it's bidirectional.
I'm glad they put that in.
Yeah, not actual meter, nanometers, not actual meters.
You were worried about that.
I was.
Yeah.
Kept me up last night.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any other questions or discussion on this? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, item 3, review of special assessment report for School Street project. Tim?
Like Tim just said, but for public stuff, the village is paying for. But what about private driveway entrances?
So the way we have this handled in the ordinance now is if we cause it, then we are going to pay for it. In other words, if the sidewalk elevation changes and that triggers a new driveway approach, the village will pay for it.
That was in the ordinance. We changed it. Last meeting, meeting before?
I believe it was last meeting. Just a couple things to add on this project. Right now, we're slated to start July 8th, start construction. And Tim and I were just talking today about, we're going to schedule a public information meeting for the week prior. So sometime the week of July 1st. So just an FYI.
And just in terms of remind us all, and I guess anybody watching from home, kind of the special assessment here that we have, the timeline on that, how that's going to play out.
So project is slated to be completed by October 1, I believe, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So after that, we will have final quantities, and then we will come back to the board with the final report to be adopted, and then the final assessments will be in that final report, the actual numbers.
Would you think that'd be probably the end of November?
No, it needs to be before then, I believe. Correct, Eileen? We've got to have that done by 1st of
Yeah.
November? Or before that even?
It might even need to be done before that, because we have to give, I believe we have to give them 30 days to pay before we put it on the tax bill. Don't quote me on this, I have to review, I don't have it all in my memory, but if that is the case, we're putting that stuff, we usually give them till like November 15th. So we'll have to look at that October 1st date, that might be a little tight, we might need to do it in September.
Either way, I don't think it'll be a problem because this is all underground stuff, which is going to happen early on in the project. And then once that stuff's in the ground and we have final quantities, we can come to you guys for the final report. So even if we're still paving.
And then, I guess too, when that, we'll have any conversations about any lead or, I know we had some other concerns in that area.
Yeah, so we are replacing all of the public side portions of the water services. And there is one known water service that we're replacing with this project on the private side, so.
All right, anybody have questions for Tim or Jason, other than what Forty asked? Okay, all right, pretty straightforward. Thanks for putting this together. Hopefully this was easier for you to put together.
Yes, it's more straightforward for certain.
Okay, more road work. All right, item 4, still Tim, consideration of design proposal from Lynch Engineering for improvements to Honey Creek Nature Area.
Yeah, so if you recall, this is related to the DNR stewardship grant. So this is the design phase of that project, taking a look at the Mill Pond parking lot area, trailhead area. We're going to expand that a little bit. That was already in the budget for this year, but we were able to get it included in the DNR grant, which is really great. And then it also includes some trail work and some landscaping work adjacent to the Mill Pond, some clearing and just cleaning up of that area as well.
I just want to remind the board, so yes, to Tim's point, we did budget $85,000 this year to construct the parking lot at Mill Pond. So what I would propose is we use those funds to do the design in 2024. And then obviously, when we construct the parking lot, the parking lot would be paid for then with some grant funds. So, and then the money we spend this year goes towards our portion of the grant funds. Which, as Eileen pointed out to me this morning, the 85,000 were ARPA funds that we had set aside. So we'll be utilizing, if this passes, we'll be utilizing 63 of that. So we'll have some additional ARPA funds to assign.
So do you need a motion that includes the accounting of this, or?
Yeah, I would prefer that the motion states that we'll use the ARPA funds that were designated for Mill Pond parking lot paving for the design.
Since this is design, what's our plan for input from Park and Rec?
Step one, if you look in the proposal, it talks about meeting with the Park and Rec Committee, getting their input to somewhat on the parking lot side, but more so on the trail side and where we really want to see this go.
Well, I can tell you, I drove by, across the bridge earlier this evening, and there were a group of people in their swimsuits at the little, I guess, waterfall, what do you call that right there? Cooling off from the weather, so it's being used. I'm sure it's pretty cold. So, all right, good. So as long as we've got that linked in with Park and Rec. Other questions?
So I'll make a motion to approve the proposal for professional services with regard to design improvements for Honey Creek Nature Area, parking lot trailhead, and trail improvements, designating $63,000, was it, Jason? 702. Of ARPA funds.
I'm going to let Lori catch up. You good, Lori? All right. Any questions or discussion on the motion? All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Okay, on to ordinances and resolutions. Item 1, Resolution 2024-07, approving 2023 Compliance Maintenance Annual Report, CMAR. This is an annual report. Jason's very succinct memo outlining, and then a very unsuccinct report. Any questions on this report? Otherwise, we need to pass the ordinance in order to, the resolution in order for us to sign it.
I will make a motion to approve Resolution 2024-07.
Second.
Okay, Joe, do you have a question? Please, go for it.
Okay, Jason, just a couple questions here. I remember talking about some of this stuff in the past. How are we doing on the phosphorus levels?
So, as you remember, we are doing the water quality trading with the local farm, and that's working out real well. We've actually even gained some credits, some extra farmland that we didn't plan on. So we're getting additional credits that we weren't planning on, which is leading to a little bit more savings, which is of course good. So phosphorus is coming along nicely.
The next question I had was, just people have asked me, Jason, just for generalities, where are we in terms of capacity of our sewer plant right now?
The plant itself is still at about 50%, so we have a lot of room to grow in the sewer plant. We do have some pinch points in the collection system, the sewage system that sends everything to the plant, but the sewer plant, we've got plenty of capacity.
Are they pinch points at lift stations or in the piping?
Both.
Are they measuring, sorry, I'm trying to find it. Are they measuring PFAS on the sewer side?
Not yet, it's coming.
And anything on the selenium we should be concerned about?
So if you notice, obviously you saw that. So the last 2 years, we've had points deducted, or I guess just say points added for that. For metals in our sludge, we have to do sludge testing annually before it can be sent out. And in 22 and 23, we've had metals show up in both. Obviously, it's from some sort of industrial user. Again, there are two different metals, so we can't really pinpoint it, and it's not an exceedance. It's at 80% of our limits, so it's a kind of an indicator. And we have actually done our sludge testing already for 2024, and we had no metals present. So really more of an anomaly than a trend. So.
That's good. All right. So we have a motion and a second, right? Okay, any other questions on the report? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. On to staff reports, municipal court for May 2024. Thanks, Tim. Have a good night. Okay, no questions on municipal court. Item 2, May financial report. Any questions for Eileen?
I just have one here. I'm just curious, Eileen, the property insurance went up. Is that because of the improvements we're doing to the hall?
No, that was actually, those values were taken before we did these improvements. That was really just, we had appraisal and the property values went up because of that.
That's all I had.
Okay, we have on to committee reports, Booth Lake Memorial Park minutes from March 20th and April 17th. Joe, anything in there you want to highlight? If you can get your iPad to scroll.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't make it to the swim event. My back went out, so I couldn't make it. So John was probably there, but I heard it went very well. So that was good. The next report, for May, I'm going to talk about some of the work that John Morath and Bonnie and Sean did in the septic tank. So they were inside the tank cleaning it out, and they probably spent, I think, 3 or 4 hours in there, right, John? A little more than that. More than that. So, but they probably have over 40 man-hours just cleaning out the septic tank. So to hire a professional was about $25,000. So they saved us a lot of money on cleaning that out. And it's not like we can get a new septic tank down by the lower pavilion. So, so big thanks to John and Bonnie and Sean for that. So,
It's literally going above and beyond.
yeah, or below.
I've got a couple questions. Joe, on your March report, I was just reading down below, it said there are 5 truckloads at no cost to the park. I'm assuming that was sand? The very last sentence of the page? It says lawnmowers are ready for the season. 5 truckloads at no cost to the park was dropped off by the town.
That was topsoil, I believe.
Okay. I guess the other question I had is that piers were installed March 13th, posted open piers on Facebook, and 2 were sold right away for $500 each. I'm not really clear. You're selling the old piers, or are you selling parking spots for the year?
Parking spot.
Okay, I apologize.
That was one of my questions. Is that annual cost, or is that a forever cost?
No, I believe that's 2 years. It's a 2-year agreement.
Thanks, Joe.
All right. Any other questions? I heard good things about the swim as well. Okay, we have lots of Park and Recs minutes. February 12th, March 11th, April 8th, and May 13th. John, anything you want to highlight?
Nothing really exciting in the minutes other than, we talked about what we'd like to see around the Honey Creek Nature Area, of course, and now the wildflower plantings. I think that would have been in the May meeting, right? We talked about that, so.
The bathrooms, I want to say is that in our capital plan for 25?
I don't believe so.
No,
They were in for a while, and then other priorities have come along.
yeah, the bathroom like at Playmore?
Yeah, I'm just reading here Adam
That was-
Lamar's comments.
Yeah, that was, actually, we are asking to pull that forward a couple years. I think right now it's sitting in 28, 29, something like that, and we're asking to pull it forward a couple of years because we saw a downturn in capital expenditures in the 2 years prior to that. You know, obviously, that's up to the board, but I think, that was at our last meeting, we talked about the capital, so.
Okay, yeah, all right, so that was, because I know we saw in our last meeting, that preliminary, so as long as you guys are ranking that and taking that into account. And I meant to take a picture on my phone, but there's a letter to the editor in the paper from a Boy Scout looking to do something with parks. So we might want to find a connection. Yeah. I have to go pull it again, so.
Matt, I have
Yeah.
one other thing, if there was nothing else, but I know there were talks about the bathroom, the locks and not being available and that kind of stuff. Now, I remember during our discussion earlier about getting some of this, our system, with the security system we have, that we'd be able to put auto locks on all the doors, like the square, the pavilion bathrooms and some other stuff. And is that being looked at? Basically just for public information.
The square is in service. The doors are automatically opening and locking every night.
Bitchell Park concession stand, that is part of that E-version. That's one of the locations we get service at, so that would be a potential. We haven't talked about, I mean, we're aware that Jason and I had that conversation, but we haven't talked to Complex or anything yet, because obviously the service isn't there yet, so.
Any other questions for John?
Yeah, I'm just curious about the pump track. I never heard of a pump track. I had to Google that. So it's for bike riding?
It would be for, I'm sorry, yeah. Thank you. It would be for bike riding. Actually, it could be used for wheelchairs. It could be used in various different ways. Basically, it's a series of humps, you know, that you can use to gain confidence on a wheeled entertainment piece, you know, like a skateboard or a scooter or bike or even a wheelchair, yeah. The people that originally proposed that did not come back to see us in the past two meetings, so.
Anything else for John? All right, Plan Commission draft minutes from June 10th. Questions for 40 or me? Got a good conceptual discussion for the old Chester Burns property. That was and I think we got some direction on these polystructures, so. Library board minutes from May 14th. Mary, anything you want to highlight?
We did. We had the dedication to Nancy. If you haven't seen the bench, drive by the library. It's very well done and looks very nice out there. Very well attended. The other part is we're hoping to have a report from the committee who's developing the strategic plan by our next meeting in July. And that'll come back to be shared with this board.
Sorry, there was something on here. I thought I had a question. I'm trying to find it. Anyway, yeah, this was it. The website ADA legislation. So you said Piper Web hosts the website, but who manages the content on the site?
Tammy. Yes.
Is that something that the library system can help us with?
The issue with the website is visual issues. And yes, Prairie Lakes should be able to provide us with assistance with that.
Okay. Any other questions for Mary? With that, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned. It is 6:56.